Hi, I'm Colin.
And I'm Bert.
This is Dabbing with Washington Artists. The idea is simple. 6 questions.
And 6 dabs.
As we get to know the artists behind the art that makes Washington, Washington.
So sit back and light those torches.
Because this is Dabbing with Washington Artists.
Hi, I'm Kim with Kimzys Kreations. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the moment. I make stoner kits. Who doesn't like a prepared stoner?
For today's series of dabs, we will begin our smoke session with the blueberry cookies, an ice cream cake, and a forbidden fruit, and we will round out the interview with a Georgia pie, a Caesar's punch, and a pineapple glue.
All right, we are here with Kimberly Hopmann of Kimzys Kreations. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. We really appreciate you taking the time to come see us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. If you are ready to get started, Bert, what do we have for dab number 1?
Okay, so for number 1 today, we have blueberry cookies.
Ooh, I love cookies.
And actually, I really love the consistency of this one.
Blueberry cookies is an indica dominant hybrid known for its distinct taste of berries and roasted nuts, and tendencies to leave the smokers calm and relaxed. We found a gram of this saucy wax at a shop in 112th Street in Everett.
All right.
Perfect.
So the first question that we love to ask everybody is, what role does cannabis play in your artistic process?
Well, I grew up around it. It's always been kind of a background noise in our family, cannabis, and so I started myself when I was like 15, and I was, growing with my friends. I mean, that was a spliff that somebody gave me, and then I just didn't know what had happened. And then I honestly just love the process of this whole thing. It's really relaxing and kind of puts you in a zen moment when you're mixing the resin, and plus I like sparkly things, and most stoners like shiny stuff, so.
This is true, we do.
Absolutely. Nothing's better than eye candy when you're stoned.
Right? You sit here and you're just like,
Yeah, I mean,
whoa. That's the idea with it, especially with this one, the way that the alcohol ink spreads throughout it, because you start with a clear resin with that. And then you put the alcohol in the mold, and when you put the resin in, it like absorbs it and then spreads it out like tie-dye almost, which is real cool.
Do you remember what your first experience of being high was?
I was with my best friend. We were mall rats.
Yep.
We went back to her house, and she used to hang out with some older guys, and it was, no big deal or whatever for us. And they actually handed me a cigarette, and it had weed in the tip. Like they had crushed out quite a bit of it and then stuffed it and packed it with weed. And they made me hit that like a cigarette, and they was like, just have fun, it's a great day. And I just remember being like, what is going on? But that's my first memory of smoking weed, because they told me afterwards that they put weed in the tip, and then I was like, oh, this is what this is. I was pretty excited about it.
Hey, Bert, what do we have for dab number 2?
All right, so number 2, we have ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake!
Ice cream cake is an indica dominant strain known for its rich terpene profile of vanilla and sugar cane, and tendencies to leave the smoker calm and euphoric. We picked up a gram of these sugar diamonds at a shop in Bothell Everett Highway in Everett.
Perfect.
The second question that we love to ask everybody is, how has living in Washington affected your creative process?
To be honest, I'm alone a lot of the time. My husband works full time, and I've got my 2 girls, which is a chore in and of itself. But I moved to Washington to distance myself from some toxic situations back in my hometown. And I lived in Spokane, and we got to see all the trees and the sunsets and all those things. And it was a lot of adventuring out there, because there's a lot of wide open space for such a big town. And so I just needed something to like tide me over, keep me sane, because I've always worked. And we ended up moving to Everett in August of last year, and I just got bored So I said, you know, I'm gonna be on here. I'm on the internet all the time as everyone else is, and I saw it and I thought, you know, I could do this. This could be fun, and it just kind of gives me something to pass my time when my babies are sleeping or they're doing school, and I'm just gonna be surfing the internet anyway, so I might as well do something productive with my time.
Where were you living before Spokane?
Portland, the Portland area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm from Southwest Portland, and I've lived there my whole life. And within, you know, 5 to 10 mile radius of my parents' house that we've been in for 20 plus years, and it's just you get tired of the same faces, and you can't go anywhere without seeing somebody you know, and whether that's a good or a bad experience or whatever. So I just got tired of turning every corner and seeing somebody that knew me, my parents, or my kids, and I was just like, I need a break. I need some fresh start.
Earlier you had mentioned the person who had the honeycomb heart, or art, excuse me, with the Pokemon cards in them. You think that you would have gotten into resin art still if you hadn't seen that?
Maybe, because I mean that looked fairly easy to do, and it's like, okay, it doesn't seem very time consuming, and you know, I've seen a lot of people doing more and more with resin tumblers, like they just paint the outside of the tumblers and then do all sorts of cool designs and whatnot. And I might have still gotten into it, but I may not have gone the stoner kit route. I might have done something along the lines of those tumblers. Actually saw a gnome 3D tumbler that like made my heart sing, because it actually has like a big old honker and like a hat that stands out.
That's awesome.
It made me happy. So I might have gone that route instead of this, but this became something crazy and cool and creative.
God, it's so gorgeous.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Pretty excited about him.
All right.
What do we have for dab number 3?
All right. So number 3, you have the forbidden fruit.
Forbidden fruit is an indica-dominant hybrid with a complex and rich terpene profile with hints of musk, cherries, and fruitiness, and has a tendency to leave the smoker couch-locked. We found these sugary diamonds at a shop on 7th Avenue in Linwood.
Yeah.
Oh, that tastes good. Oh.
Alright, so we noticed that you like to let people customize the color of their pieces, and we were wondering, does that mean someone could order something and customize the color of the piece to match like a bong or a pipe that they have?
Exactly. So I have pretty much every color under the sun that I can make, or that like these little alcohol ink kits come with. So if you wanted something that was like purple and yellow and blue that could go along with this, I could do something along these lines where I put purple, yellow, and blue in the ink and then just pour the resin over it to kind of make it intermix without overpowering one another. Or if you wanted something more along these lines where they're solid colors, you can say, oh, okay, I want a purple one, or can you mix 2 solid colors? And I've done marbling, I've done this tie-dye design, I've done all sorts of different things with it. But yeah, it's definitely to make it so that it's custom to you and your favorite colors, or if you want it to match a specific piece, because it's supposed to be a kit. Like you bring out your bong and then you bring out all of your accoutrement that comes with it, and it all matches and is really cool.
Just noticed that your makeup is matching the kit colors.
Hey.
I was literally just
Double
noticing
plug.
that. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's this one right there. Be the grinder.
Cool.
Thanks. I was pretty excited when it came up to me, like came out with the idea, because I originally saw the ashtray, and that's what caught my eye and made me start thinking the weed route was the ashtray and then the glitters. And there was a green and yellow glitter pack that came together, and I got like a neon, I wouldn't necessarily call it glitter on those ones, but they're cutouts and they're about the same size as these weed leaves. But I just loved the idea of having like a green and yellow, or like just a gold, because if you have this, it matches the dabs. I mean, really, it just goes with everything. And
Do you have like glow in the dark or UV reactive?
Oh man.
Sure as shit do.
Oh,
I
man.
had something for you guys that I was gonna bring. My husband actually came up with this idea for me because I painted before I started this, and it's a Spider-Man plaque poster. So it's got like a wood backing and everything. And he found a couple of them, and we want to turn them into like serving trays, but since they're copywritten, I can't sell them.
Gotcha.
And I ended up not having enough time to complete the Spider-Man one, so I feel bad. But I was gonna
Oh.
bring you guys this really sick ass glow in the dark tray where Spider-Man, all the Spider-Mans that are on it, because there's several different different universe, different types of Spider-Mans all over this poster, and their eyes and all the light up pieces or all the backlit stuff from the background, all that's all glow in the dark, and then
So
the handles
cool.
are glow in the dark, and I was so pumped. I'll post it so that everybody can see it, and then I'll ship it to you guys. It's not a big deal, but I wanted to make sure that I had something as a thank you.
All right, so this would be dab number 4.
Yeah, so this is Georgia Pie.
Nobody makes pie like the South.
Georgia Pie is a sativa-dominant hybrid known for its distinct taste and smell of fresh-baked cobbler. Known for its more indica-like head and body high, this strain commonly leaves the smokers with a floating effect. We scored a gram of this batter at a shop in Marysville.
Oh man, like a peach cobbler now sounds hella good.
It's definitely got that kind of crumble you would see from like a pie crust.
See, yeah, I would but this would be the crumble on top of the cobbler,
yeah,
that
there you
delicious
go.
brown sugary crispiness.
Sorry, I'm stuck on food now.
You're like, now I'm hungry.
So you have recently begun selling your pieces to the public, and we wanted to know if you could talk to us a little bit about the difficulty of starting up a business with the world in the current state that it's in.
Well, I'd say my biggest difficulty is just getting the funds to get it off the ground, essentially. I want to have like an inventory that I can pick from. So I'll have like standardized colors like these. And then if you want a custom color, I can get you a custom color too. But some people may just like this. And so figuring out how much, like the hardest part was figuring out how much resin went into a full kit. And that's like a 13-piece thing where I get like 3 ashtrays, you have a couple of these trays, all 3 of the different shapes of stash box, incense trays, all of it. I mean, this guy alone takes about 300 milliliters of resin, and you get like a 32-ounce kit for like $30 or so. So you're basically getting into, like, putting into it what you're getting out of it, which is nice. But it takes that much to get started, and then you have to have enough where you can make the bits and pieces of it, and that's really been the biggest thing. As far as networking goes, I also have a little bit of difficulty because I have a little more conservative of a background with the activities that I've been involved in growing up with cheerleading, Girl Scouts, all that stuff. So I have a huge network that way, but I have to figure out my network without that. And
Right.
advertising is really hard, especially self-advertising, because you can only reach so many people. So I'm in like 18 to 20 Facebook groups, like buy, sell, trade stuff for Everett, Linwood, all this other stuff, so that I can just get it at least locally out there. And that's where I'm starting. But I don't have like a huge following on my actual Facebook page for Kimzys Kreations yet. So the giveaway giving it away doesn't matter because nobody's watching.
I think it'll spark
Yeah.
some interest.
Yeah,
This
hopefully.
episode.
I hope so. Yeah, that's my biggest thing is, and this is just getting it to the right community where I don't have the background for that community as much. I'm glad that I get to be here and talk about this to people who actually give a shit.
Right, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And instead of like family ones, like, that's cool, you make weed stuff.
We love weed, we love art.
Yeah.
We love weed art.
It's pretty cool. I've been pretty excited about it. So I'm, I would say that's the hardest thing is the funds to get a backstock going, and then just the advertising for myself.
For
Well, that's
number 5.
For number 5, we have Caesar's Punch.
Caesar's Punch is a hybrid known for its complex blend of earthiness, diesel, and mint, and has a tendency to leave the smoker with a serious case of the munchies. We found a gram of this crumble at a dispensary on Evergreen Way in Everett.
All right.
And so you have a line of self-defense keychains called Critters that you make. Do you feel like the cannabis community has been like more accepting or supportive of these keychains because of how like artistic and customizable they are?
I would say through my friendships, yes, the people who are interested in not only the cannabis portion of my life, but actually just my friendship, they've been super duper supportive. As far as like the general population, I honestly haven't had much of I've had a couple people hit me up for the weed stuff, but they are nothing like the people that are hitting me up for the self-defense keychains. These people just are more interested in the functionality of the keychain, as well as it's matching the rest of their keys or like their lanyards and things like that. And it's always great to get that feedback. People have sent me pictures like, I don't know how you did this. I gave you 3 colors and you matched it perfectly. And I was like, sweet. Like, that's awesome. And they send me pictures and they tell me how excited they are, like they like the quality of it. So that's been it's just been completely different. They don't advertise that they smoke weed, I guess.
Right.
But I would say they're wider accepted in general. The self-defense keychains are for sure.
Have you had anybody contact you with a success story?
No, not yet.
Oh.
No, not from having to use the keychains. The whole point of it
Hopefully
is
that's for the best, though.
Yeah.
right. The whole point is to not ever have to use the keychain, and it just
Absolutely.
be a really cute little dude hanging on your little critter, just hanging on your key ring. Have
Yeah.
just a little friend with you at all times, and
Absolutely.
it kind of blends in and it's inconspicuous, but yourself that if you're out running and okay, so it definitely geared more towards women in general, just because we're smaller in stature and people take advantage of that with small people. But it's like if you're out running, you have something in your hand that you could sucker punch somebody coming right at you and run away and be fine.
This last one, number 6, is pineapple glue.
Pineapple glue is a well-balanced hybrid known for its strong and distinct pineapple taste and smell, and its cerebral high that leaves the smoker calm and chatty. We scored a gram of this doughy crumble at a dispensary on 64th Avenue in Bothell.
Pineapple glue for manly again. So, last question for the interview. The glassblowing community has been driven to constantly adapt in response to rapid changes in the cannabis community. Do you see this trend emerging with other accessories like jars, ashtrays, stuff like that? And if so, what trends do you see?
Right now, the biggest trend that I'm seeing online is artistic pieces, like that have creatures or like figurines of sorts that almost make it like just a really cool piece of glass art. I don't know how this community would adapt to that other than making our own silicone molds. Some people are doing some really wicked pyramids with resin, and they're different layered, different colors. They have keepsakes in them. Something I may end up getting into is like you send me a pair of your baby's shoes or something, and I'll cast it in resin so that it keeps the shape and the size and all that. And then it's in this really cool artistic piece, something along those lines.
That's really a cool idea.
Yeah, people are doing some stuff with like
Things will last
ashes
forever.
from their people, and honestly, with my industry, with this specific niche, I guess I would say my biggest adaptation would be to also offer like caps and pipes and connections to people and more of their art that have just like a set of products from these specific glass blowers, so that I can work in with their community and help drag more to them and vice versa. but honestly, I would be just to get their work out there is the biggest thing. So if I could work in bulk with somebody, that would be a way that I personally would adapt with this. But glass blowing, I mean, those people are insanely talented. It is incredibly difficult to do. I mean, you can do some basic stuff, but it is incredibly difficult to get all of those intricate little pieces, eyes that look real, and creatures that are crawling off your table. Like, it's really cool what they do.
And when you started talking about like creating like grow your own molds and stuff like that, as far as like little creatures and stuff like that, that could be really cool. My mind started going to really interesting places there.
Yeah. I'd probably do something like, if I was to make my own molds, I'd probably get like a clay of some sort, and I'd start by making the critter out of clay and then taking the silicone and mashing it around that in order for me to get a different type of mold. And I mean, there are so many different things that you can come up with, and there's so many different people these days because we've been trapped inside forever. And there's no end in sight as far as that goes, but they have to be creative somehow. And people are finding some really interesting ways to do that. And I'm glad I found something that I can do that's had very good quality as far as the outcome has been, especially using different kinds of resin, because some companies, like, they'll start and you find a really great resin that you like working with, and then it's out and you're sitting there like, is it ever going to come back? Because that was the resin, that was the resin. I knew how to use it, I knew how to get all the bubbles out, I knew how to make it look really pretty, like, and then they're gone and you're like, okay, starting over, let's see if we can get something else. So agree.
Again, I think this is probably like one of the most brilliant ideas I've seen come out of the stoner community.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is just like, again, I can only imagine like you're sitting at a party and someone's like, man, I can't find my nail. Anybody have an ashtray? Anybody got a roll for us? And then just wow, prepared for every situation.
You should get one of those packs for like when you go traveling and you have like your triangular pieces, and just have that thing full so it does roll out.
That would be awesome.
Here's my stoner travel kit. Here we go.
Just unlatch it and unroll it.
Yeah, and I think I like the idea of having multiple kit options, so you can just get the resin stuff, or you can get just for flour, or just for dabs, or you can get it all and then some, and that doubles these. You still get all of this. You get 2 packs of these, and you get 4 joints, and then you get all of these things, and you get an extra ashtray because nobody likes putting their cigarette butts out with their doobies. That's just not a thing that we like to do. You get an incense tray so that you can make your room smell less like weed if you want to, or make everybody get high and not even know it. But the grinders were a difficult thing, and I'm glad that I figured out how I'm going to do that, but trying to figure out the way.
I was kind of wondering about the grinder. Did you create the whole plastic bit and everything?
Okay, so that's a bitch of a story. Those things are insanely difficult to do, and it's just the way that the grinders are made online. They have more like pin posts, and then they have the triangular pieces. So one end is just posts that go in between here, and these triangular pieces, they move those posts around, so you can't get them to stay still. If it was like these, it might work a little better, but the problem is that with this is the downfall to everything resin. It's got BPA in it. Everything resin has BPA in it, so you do have to be careful when you're grinding something that's made out of resin, because you can get bits and pieces in that, and that can affect your lungs. But as far as the ashtrays and everything, you don't want to like relight something that you put in your ashtray. Not many people do that, but if you put it out in the ashtray, definitely don't relight it. But everything else is totally safe. I wouldn't lick it. Don't chew on it or lick it or anything, but otherwise it's totally safe to use. Everything dry is completely cured. All the toxins that go in like are fumes from things like this. That's information that needs to be out there, because a lot of people don't necessarily know that. I mean,
we gotta be careful with the resin bongs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And even silicone can be dangerous, or anything made off
similar
plastic
reasons,
stuff. Yeah, so the grinders, I opted to buy grinders that were plastic, and then I made sure that they had bits and pieces that I can put resin on the top and the bottom if I want to, or one or the other. So that was an experiment that worked out really well
Oh,
for you guys, because you get to keep those.
Oh, sweet, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad you guys had me on today. Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Dabbing with Washington Artists.
Make sure to share with your friends and click like and follow below for more great content. Also, check the links below for the more information about the artists and some of their current projects.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it now.